Everyone, this is Devlina welcoming you all once again to another exciting episode of Icons Behind Brand. I'm back with another special episode with another special guest with me who is a full stack marketer with over 20 years of work experience developing and managing products, product lifecycle, and building businesses. Turned into an author, an engineer MBA by education, and held positions with well known companies like Lenovo, Nokia, TVS. A warm welcome to Mr. Sudham Ravinutala, Assistant Vice President, Head of Solar Marketing, Luminous Power Technologies. A warm welcome to you, Mr. Sudham.
Good afternoon, Devlina. How are you?
Good afternoon, Sudham. I'm doing great, and I'm so excited to have you here in our platform. I feel there is so much to learn from you. First thing, marketer, author, and there would be a lot of depth in your conversation. So I'm really excited, and I'm glad that you have accepted this invitation.
Thank you. The feeling is mutual, and I'm excited to be here. So the feeling is very mutual.
Super. So, Mr. Sudham, before we start, our viewers and listeners would love to know about you as a person. So, it would be great if you just take us through with your journey and background a bit, and then we can eventually get into the conversation on marketing, branding, about your authorship and as a writer. So, I'm just curious to know about all of them.
So I've pretty much a full-blown Indian boy with an Indian childhood, growing up in India of the 90s. Saw a lot of change. I was schooled mostly in Delhi. I did all my schooling in Delhi. Thereafter, I went on to pursue my engineering, which took me to Bangalore, actually a small town outside Bangalore called Tumkur. And after that, uh, I continued the tradition of what other kids did at that time. You did your engineering, and then after that you did your MBA. So I just wanted to break that tradition up a bit. So while all my friends, started doing their MBAs, I said no, I'm going to be a little different. I'll work a bit before I'll gain some experience. So I worked for a bit, and then I pursued my MBA. That took me to Bombay. I did my MBA from Bombay, and thereafter started the corporate grind and journey, and that's been on for over 20 odd years now, about 22 years if I can count correctly. So it's been long, but it's been extremely rewarding, and they always encourage the co-curricular aspect of it. So writing has been something that I got into very early on in life. I always liked expressing my thoughts, and whether it was a school magazine or a college magazine, or editing it, or later on writing blogs, and that kind of somehow melded into writing about marketing, which I was always keenly interested in. And that's where the journey started, and it continues to this day.
Super. And I'm sure, all the other things, they are complementing each other to flourish it in a better state. Yeah. So, how the shift took place? I mean, being a poet, novelist, and being a leading marketer.
As I mentioned, in my mind, there is no shift. They are all parts of me, and the marketer of in me makes me probably a better or a more aware author and poet, and the author and poet in me make me a more aware marketer. As a storyteller, you're always interested in people and how their characters, what they like, what they don't. You're sitting at an airport.
Yeah.
It's a work trip, staring into nothing, and you see people, and then suddenly you start putting a backstory.
Right.
You see an interesting character, a mannerism, and so
Mm-hmm.
you're always with your antennas out, and you're looking at people and observing.
Right.
And as a marketer, that helps me understand consumers in their various settings,
True.
how they would behave. Then I look at the kind of accessories they're wearing, the clothes they're wearing,
Mm-hmm.
what they're carrying.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes.
it's been interesting. So there are so many things you can start looking for,
Mm-hmm.
because you're not just one, you're both, or you're all of them. So yes, always rewarding. So no
And
shift.
so I'm just taking one point from this part. You have a, natural skill of writing and natural interest of writing. So as a marketer or as a business person, I feel if you don't have, but still you this should be something, I mean, which anyone should start working on it. Observe, write, journal, journaling your daily journey and whatever you are observing. I think this could lead you to a good marketer. I mean, I'm just taking it as a takeaway.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think as students of marketing, we would have in marketing 101, we would have been taught about the four P's and the four C's or seven C's or whatever, whatever. I think as marketers as well, we have a couple of P's that I can think of, right? It's about participation. Uh, there's no point setting off on a path without knowing where you're headed. So simple things. We do plan. We don't just roam around aimlessly, we wander around aimlessly. We have a plan. We need to get somewhere. So yes, have a plan. Think about things before you want to do. You cannot plan everything to the T. So don't be somebody who's obstinately into planning. Get out of it. Yeah, get a general sense of it and get moving. The beauty of a plan lies in implementing
In
it.
execution.
And
Yes.
while we are implementing it, you might face challenges and failures, which brings me to my next P: persevere, persist. So if you thought about something, if you planned it, you would have thought about situations that may go in your favor and not go in your favor. So persevere, persist, stick with something. That said, do not be madly in love with one thought. It's not about, some people believe, having a plan B is thinking that plan A is going to fail. No, having a plan B is how quickly you can maneuver, because you've thought through things. You face a challenge, okay, you either solve the challenge or solve the problem or go around it. So that's what plan B is. And so pivot. That's the other P
Right.
that I have.
Super. So great takeaways: participation, planning, perseverance, and practicing. I think these are great way to remember how exactly you should be, and this will help you to be aligned in your goal, in your thoughts.
Absolutely, and these are not gospel P's that I'm coining right now. Everybody is very free to coin their own, things, but have
Definitions.
that. And as an individual, I believe that it's very important to have your own set of plans and milestones that you want to achieve. A lot of people talk about it, but I personally I found that to be extremely helpful in my journey so far.
That's right. With this, Mr. Sudham, I have seen, like, I mean, you have worked as an independent consultant as well, right?
Yes,
So,
yes, yes.
would you be able to help us with, like, how the mindset should be as an independent consultant? We have a lot of viewers. They are also, brand consultant. They are working as an individual contributor, independent consultant. So, what should be a mindset of a independent consultant?
Okay, the first thing I would like to say is I failed successfully as an independent consultant.
Love that. So,
It is something that I tried, and I feel I gave it my best shot for a significant amount of time. So I don't have formula for success. I
mhm.
possibly have things that I've looked back upon and said, hey, this is what I could have done better, perhaps. So, as an independent consultant, just to go back, what I wanted to do was, I had identified this gap, saying that oftentimes there are smaller businesses which are plenty in our country,
Mhm.
which don't have really organized marketing structures or CMOs. So the
Right.
idea was to provide some kind of marketing and consulting services. And I realized that suddenly I was the chief marketing officer, I was the accountant, I was the ASM, so to speak, I was the guy who was chasing the printer when the deliveries had come. I was chasing the guy, activation guy, saying, "Hey, send me pictures with
Yes.
newspaper in your hand, saying these materials have been deployed, so on and so forth."
So I have learned somewhere that when you start something and whatever goals you have set and you consider according to that goal you have not succeeded and you consider it as a fail, and when you restart anything you don't restart from zero, you start from there. I mean your level is not zero, so it's never a failed experience. It's always you have built a great foundation for yourself for the future. And also there is a very good example I was watching one interview of Ranveer Allahabad, beer bicep. So he explained this correctly, and this example is awesome. When you're working in a corporate, and suppose if you want to eat a banana, you eat a banana and you throw it to the dustbin, I mean the peel. And when you're an entrepreneur, you eat a banana, then you go and you buy the dustbin, you keep it in a place, and then you can throw that peel to the dustbin. So that actually made me think that yeah, we actually have to manage each and everything. You have to go and buy the dustbin first. So
Very, 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 very true. And we are a nation of entrepreneurs. I think this nation's wheels are its entrepreneurs, and as things move ahead and as technology becomes more freely accessible to many more people, I think we are only going to see that explode. They
that's true.
know how to use it, how to maximize the usage, and the great Indian jugaad
That's
always
correct.
is
That's
available.
correct. All you have to do is to think that if you're repeatedly doing something, there must be a solution. So, Mr. Ram, you have worked as a national marketing head in famous FM radio network 92.7 FM, right? So
Yes, yes.
I'm just going there. What was your strategy when you were engaged with this particular venture that particular time?
Okay, so this was perhaps one of my most creatively satisfying assignments in my entire career. I've done a lot of marketing otherwise, but in terms of creative satisfaction, there's nothing like media, and within media, nothing like quite like radio. I got my exposure pretty early, around the time that I joined as the marketing head. Fortunately or unfortunately, the then programming head, kind of was on his way out, and I was asked if I could, fill in. And I had no prior media experience. I was an IT guy. I was a marketer,
Okay.
but then radio programming is actually like street food. It is fun in that context. So when you're in Bangalore, you need to be aware of the kind of street food Bangalore is serving. If you're in Mumbai, it has to be vada pav. If you're in Kolkata, it is about fuchka, right? And march and everything else. So we need to understand what works, and therefore take that as a fabric and weave it into your programming content. So we actually changed the entire programming for some of our biggest stations, where there was a multitude. So instead of playing current, hot, Dick Chat music, we went back to the classics. We were playing Kishores and Lata and Muhammad Rafi in the space where a very contemporary current music was being played. And we the task that we had was to make sure that retro was not seen as fuddy duddy. It was not old. So the challenge was to as a so that was one on the programming side. The other challenge as a marketer was not to be seen as old or not relevant. This kind of triggers this challenge possibly could be solved with this kind of and you have to experiment and fail fast. If it is not working, course correct, move on, and then that's the way to go.
Super, super. So, with this, so please tell us about the concept of product management now, Siddham. Our viewers and listeners, they would love to know what it is and why it is significant to any businesses?
Well, and not because I do this, my answer would be that product management is the superset of marketing. Fundamentally, a lot of times it is thought to be a part of marketing, but at the end of the day, if a business is about creating value, and that value is created by virtue of a product or a solution or a combination of both, then the ability, the art, the science, or whatever it is of managing the product is eventually the be all and end all. So if the objective of marketing is to create demand, uh, and profitable growth and so on and so forth, all of these things are taught to us. So therefore, product management is the pivot around which the entire business revolves. It is the end to end of managing the product life cycle, and it starts with understanding consumers, understanding needs, understanding need gaps, understanding how these need gaps are being addressed, if at all, by competition or yourself. Is there a scope for improvement? If there is, does it warrant improvement on a product that exists, or does it warrant a new product? So saying, you're talking to the internal stakeholders, saying, hey, I want it cheaper, better, maybe more shiny, less shiny, whatever it is. So those kind of things, everything is can be translated back into an engineering spec, no matter how complicated a product is or how simple a product is. Everything eventually boils down to somebody making it to a certain shape, size,
Sure.
fit, and manner.
Yeah, right, right. So, competition analysis is one of your skills, and is one of the topic which we have not discussed very much here. So, tell us how do you know who is your competitions first, and once you know, what is the strategy you follow to make the product and the brand stand apart from the rest?
Uh, so competition analysis is an interesting field by itself, and nobody in my mind can actually claim expertise as it, and I don't also claim that. It's competition is reality. If you want to make success out of a product or a solution or a combination of both, uh, it is to be expected that somebody else is also wanting to do the same thing. Now, does he talk to the same customer? If not, he might be competing but not competing directly. Is he offering the same solution or product? If yes, there is a different route. If not, there is a different route. Sometimes we need to start by understanding what all is competition. Like I said, and continue that example of a pen and pencil. Is a pen a competitor to a pencil? If the answer is yes, then so is a piece of coal, so is a crayon, because anything that you can write with or create a visual communication with is competition to a pen or a pencil. So therefore, competition is everywhere. You just need to be aware that anything can impact your business, and that is competition.
Yeah, yeah. And with the example of pen and pencil, one more question is coming to my mind that see, competition analysis can give you the examples of this could be your competition, or that particular thing could be your competition, but at the same time that could be your complementing product as well. I mean, because of that product, probably you might, combine in such a way that, I mean, you can, increase the sales or something like that. So how, that mindset works, the collaboration, how to convert that competition in a different way, in a collaborative way and all.
So, as marketers, I think what we are responsible for is creating a value proposition. Now, that value proposition can come from multiple components: the product itself and things around it that complement it, like you rightly said. And continuing with this stationary example, I think the entire stationery industry survives around that. Where there is a pencil, there is an eraser, and that eraser can be on top. Where there is a pencil, there's probably also an instrument to sharpen the pencil, right? And that's around. So these are not the same product, but they are complementing products. So are they competition? No, not necessarily, but they are all fighting for that same rupee. So you can view the consumer with a different value proposition on both sides of the equation.
That's right. Super, super. Great perspective about this as well, Sudham. So, with this, now we are moving to a different section, which is one of my favorite as well, rapid fire round, where I will be asking you a question and you need to answer in as minimum as possible. So, one word and one sentence answer. Next. What has been your favorite age so far? Your age.
Teenage.
What is your favorite work memory?
I'll have to go back to my entrepreneurial stint.
I could relate to that. You know, you learn so much and you have so many memories and learnings. What has changed the most since you have started working in this company?
People's mindset.
What advice would you give an employee on their first day?
The only thing that you should be looking out for are possibilities.
That's a great one. If you could not work in this industry, what profession would you pursue?
Oh, that's an easy one. I would write. I would write poetry, novels, anything that got me closer to the written word. Yes.
Yeah, that was easy for me as well to guess. When are you most productive?
When I'm actually not thinking about the problem.
Oh, that's a good one. That's actually opening up something in my mind as well, probably. Yeah. So, what would you change about yourself?
I don't want to sound cocky, but the answer truly is nothing. I'm happy with who I am.
That's right. That's how it should be. What advice would you give to your younger self?
Plan a bit more. I have tended to be very impulsive when I was younger. So yeah, not plan, but learn to be patient. Wait for things to move out. Wait for people to finish their sentences. So patience, yeah. The advice to myself would be patient.
Superb. What you have shared, it is applicable in each and every stream. Say it in the marketing, in the business, in your life also. Be passionate, be observant. So thank you for sharing such lovely and in-depth insights with us, Mr. Sudham. That has opened up a lot of different areas, different perspective in my mind, and probably I will churn more into those knowledge, and that will help me. And I'm sure for our viewers and listeners, we have lot, and they can also gain so much from this particular conversation.
I surely hope so. It's been wonderful talking to you.